All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 58 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I am your host, Joseph Laney Pavlon. Alongside me tonight, I have, of course, my buddies Justin and Danny, as well as Austin LaPlante. And we have a lot to cover. Um, Things are exciting and are worth being excited about because we have a lot of content um, that has happened in the motorsports world in the past week, and lots to look forward to. We got a race coming up. NASCAR is back, just like starting over. Quote John Lennon on that song from Double Fantasy, 1980, his last album. But let's take a look at where do we start? So, virtual racing in NASCAR is coming to a close for now. And I mean, it's back to the exclusive sim racer kind of drivers. I mean, we still get pros here and there, but now they finally have their playground again.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about first of all some of the upcoming things you want to look forward to. We're not going to talk about the Darlington 500K and the Coke 600. We'll get into that next week, but we will talk about the Darlington 400. It's the first time in 16 years that this race is going to happen. Yeah, well, Thomas Bertram, hi, how's it going? We will get into the World of Outlaws pretty soon on that return race, and hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, World of Outlaws had a return race and return of two veterans. One of them who was in the bowl of controversy and lost his ride being Kyle Larson. The other being Casey Kane, who was a fairly decent Cup Series driver, and they were part of the field. And David Gravel got the win. So David Gravel won the race, and he won the 30-lap NOS Energy Drink feature over Ian Madsen, Logan Schuchart, Darren Pittman, and Corey Eliason. And then looking down the list, Donnie Schatz, Linton Jeffrey, Brian Brown, Brad Sweet, and Kyle Larson. And then Brock Zegercross, Danny Dietrich, Austin McCarl, Cameron Masto, Terry McCarl, Shane Stewart, Brooke Tatnell, Kerry Madsen, Davey Heskin, Kerry Madsen. Oh, I already mentioned him. Rico Abreu, Jason Sides, Craig Kinser, Jacob Allen, Justin Henderson, Sheldon Hauschild, Shane Golovic. So yeah, I don't think Casey Kane made the main event.
No,
but he was there, and you know that happens in dirt racing. So there's that. Yeah, at least they returned. They had the race without fans in Knoxville, Iowa. Knoxville, of course, in Iowa, that area they don't have as much severe orders like other states do. Other parts of the country, of course. World of Outlaws has dirt tracks all around, have several races that are returning as we speak. So there's that. And let's talk about some other things. Gaming. NASCAR Heat 5 plans were announced. And the cover drivers, Chase Elliott and Tony Stewart.
Yep. So if people don't understand, Chase Elliott's on the standard edition, but there's also on July 7 is the gold edition like they did with Jeff Horn, but this year it's Tony Stewart. And also one of the exclusives about the pre-ordering the gold edition is you get $125,000 more dollars in your career mode, which is already a good sign because some career modes are brutal. Wish it was like that in Heat 3 because Heat 3 was so brutal. And also you also get the game 3 days early on July 7 because the standard edition releases July 10th, which is earlier for the 704 has usually released their games in September. This year it's in July, which is a good thing for some people. During the summer, like some people are not at school, they could do something in the summer.
Right, and a lot of us have been stuck at home, and so people, including myself, have got into or returned to gaming.
Yep.
You know, I myself, I'm spending days, all day on NR 2003, just playing around with mods and having a fun time.
Yeah.
Soul Vibes, hey Justin, Joe, Austin, hi. Thanks for watching. I know I'm wearing something different today. So yeah, NASCAR Heat 5 plans announced.
Yep.
Usually around this time of the year, NASCAR Heat games have their plans
Yeah.
set in stone, and this year is no exception. So let's see what we have here. Many factory teams now. We're gonna go ahead and switch. Let's hold off on endurance racing because we'll talk about that later due to breaking news. But NASCAR, let's keep the NASCAR conversation here. They have tracks that may lose scheduled dates, and we've already found out that Chicagoland and Sonoma will be off the table for 2020, and the Richmond date that was in April is also off the table. So
Yeah.
2 canceled races and 1 race that basically won't have its first date. And I know what's going on with Chicagoland Speedway right now. They're the developing story, but we'll talk about Chicagoland in another portion of this podcast because we're here just getting in the conversation of what NASCAR is doing with its current 29 race calendar that is to be determined, changed, whatever.
iRacing costs more money.
iRacing does cost more money.
Do you want to know what's more annoying? You know, NASCAR Heat, you buy the game. Oh, that you're good to go. iRacing, you have to pay monthly.
It's paid subscription. It's like pay-per-view.
Yeah, and you have to have a good computer because.
Oh yeah, and you need like screens and all that.
Ty Majeski once used his laptop, just a laptop with a steering wheel, but it's different. And also, iRacing is hard for some people because it's not a video game, as people say. It's a simulator.
There's a difference. Daniel Pink and what, Joe? What Chicago race? The first one, the second one. There's only one Chicagoland race, so
supposed to be in June. It was supposed to be in June, the weekend before Pocono, between Sonoma and Pocono, but Sonoma's off the table also. So
right, and I think that has to do with the California government.
Yeah. But there's other good news in NASCAR right now.
Yeah. Before we get into that, let's see what else we had here. IndyCar. So IndyCar has announced their intentions to have an official return date on June 6th at the Texas Motor Speedway. The race will be on a condensed single-day schedule.
Yep.
This will be the opening round of their season.
Yep, and also for people
only
that
200 laps.
Yeah, so it's not 600 kilometers; it's 300 miles. Like that's basically the length of an Xfinity race at a mile and a half, 200 laps. 200 laps.
It's a quick race, but enough to put the standings up and just move along and have some sort of start.
Yeah, because I'm looking, it says practice 1, a couple hours later qualifying, and then at nighttime they're going to have the race at 8:45 Eastern time, which also for some people, also another thing about it that I heard, which is already most likely people know, that it's going to be broadcast on TV on NBCSN.
Daniel Pinkham, it's actually
there's only one
Charlotte
race
you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Or maybe no, Darlington.
Yeah, because Chicagoland only has a date, and 2019 it was at night because the rain.
It ended at night. It wasn't supposed to end at night, but it had to.
Yeah, but
Alex Bowman would go on to win.
Yep, I remember that race. I was so happy.
Yeah, I remember you were on the edge of your seat. Let's see what else we have here. Let's talk about. Let's get into what happened on the esports scale, starting with Ty Majeski, who won the NASCAR race of Martinsville with the Xfinity cars on Friday night.
Yeah.
Walk-off. It was a walk-off win. I think everybody knew from the drop of the green flag of his heat race that he was going to win the whole thing.
Yep. He led 124 out of 125 laps. And plus, do you want to know what else is kind of weird? He had to face he had to make sure he didn't mess up, because at the end, there was a crash between Todd Gilliland and Stephen Light off turn 4. and they throw out the caution. But guess what Stephen Light does? Runs in the side of Donnie Leah and Ty Majeski under caution, and he got disqualified for doing that. But they disqualified so many people. They disqualified Kaz Gralla, Todd Gilliland, Drew Dollar. They disqualified so many people. I'm like, why did they disqualify them? Some of them just spun out and they got disqualified.
Or maybe it was over game chatter. Who knows?
But it's so weird, like so many people that got disqualified from that one event.
All right, and yet for the Cup Series side, there was only Ty Dillon who got disqualified at 84 laps. And let's get into that. Denny Hamlin won that race, and it was at the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Before 1997, only 2 tracks ran in every single season in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Martinsville is the other.
Martinsville is the current one and only one as of the last 26 years and 24 years in North Wilkesboro before 1997. And then North Wilkesboro left after 96.
And then Texas came.
Right, took over their slot in the schedule.
Yep.
But due to popular demand, they're back and they're officially on iRacing.
It was actually released for the people, for the public today. It was released today. And people are like, oh, the fans rushed it too much. I'm like, the track was basically done.
You know what? It was an easy bake. Almost an easy bake. It's not food. It's a racetrack.
It's not. No, they actually scanned the track. You know when Dale Jr. and then they cleaned up the track? That's the reason. They scanned the track.
Right, that's their policy. They won't put a track on the game unless they scan it. Even though anybody can really put any type of track they want.
Yeah, but they
makes me wonder, how did they scan Monza Oval? Let's not get into that. Okay,
I don't know.
It would be a good question, but knowing what happened, I think I'd rather change the subject. Yeah. That makes more sense because they do have a smaller Monza Oval.
Yeah, because the big oval that
doesn't exist anymore. But in Formula One racing, in or pre F1, pre 1950 Grand Prix racing, they actually ran that. It's the very dangerous high banked oval. A lot of lives were actually taken from that track. But let's let's be real. In the early 20th century, F1 racing was like second nature.
Well, I actually saw that. I've seen these videos. This guy, which is a guy from New Zealand, this YouTuber, the same that was talking about Mahavir Raghunathan, that guy made a video about one of the worst tracks in F1, which is Zeltvig, which that was actually the first time. That was how Austria Grand Prix became a thing. But that track was on an air base, which was not the smartest thing, and it had 5 turns. And do you want to know how bad the races were? The first race was non-championship. Jack Brabham won by 6 laps. And then the second race, it was, I don't remember this guy's name, but he won his only F1 race there. But because, concrete slabs, they get old after time. And there were so many cars crashed out of the race. And one of them was Phil Hill's car was still burning in the infield. Because I don't know why they have never put that out for all the race. You just saw smoke from his car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, at least that. Yeah.
Or how about the Avis ring in Berlin, Germany? That's.
Yep.
I mean, they didn't know back then the dangers of racing. It's always you have to do the research and understand how skilled race car drivers are and how determined they are. It's a brave sport. Yeah. Let's look on.
It's not for the faint of heart, pretty much.
Yeah. And one of those pioneers who was involved in those parts of the early 20th century unfortunately passed away at the age of 92. That is Rayleigh Wood, part of the Wood brothers, the family of the famous Wood brothers team, the oldest active NASCAR team.
Yep.
And just to point that out, that was
and also that
was a loss for the community.
And also, people that didn't know, he was actually one of the tire changers for the 21 crew at the start of the team. He was one of the tire changers of that number 21 car.
And fun fact, the Wood brothers though they may not have ran every single race on the tour, well, even champions back then didn't run all the circuits in those days, but
there's too many races.
Right, they didn't have to, but the Wood Brothers, they were still credited with revolutionizing how pit stops work in NASCAR, having a formation pit crew, being more organized, having your tires there ready, putting in fuel cans at the right time, going over with the everything. It was an influential style of pit stops that we have today. Let's see what else is around here. Oh yeah, also sad news. Ontario short track driver Alyssa Bullen unexpectedly died at the age of 23. Just horrible to see someone go at that age.
Yeah,
man, it's very tragic.
Yeah.
Gone too soon, and
right. So of course my condolences, and everyone with Roar Race Media are with the Bullen family.
Yeah.
So here is what we also have. Donovan Martinez. Hi, how's it going? See you in the live chat. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as too many views.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Okay, so let's talk about sports car racing now. First and foremost, you get into the positives here because there's pluses and minuses right now going on in the world of endurance racing.
Yep.
First and foremost, manufacturer teams are showing interest in the new LMDH car that's eventually going to take over as the leading prototype Le Mans car, which will follow the hypercar. Now, of course, the hypercar is being delayed due to the pandemic, and we obviously don't know when that's going to happen. Of course, they've not entered any official race yet and probably won't for a while. But what we do know is that the interest in the LMDH car is much higher than the interest in the hypercar, and the ACO and the FIA, they are working to mend the specs so that they can race together for a better long-term plan. And along with that plan is to have those cars race the 24 hours of Daytona and the 24 hours of Le Mans with the intentions of going for the overall win. Now, of course, interest showing in Aston Martin were the hypercars, and then that fell out due to a controversial situation. And also, of course, now Ferrari allegedly wants to come into endurance racing again. I think, guys, where is Ferrari now? There are rumors about Ferrari going to IndyCar, Ferrari competing up in the higher levels of overall wins in sports car racing.
Could it be just rumors, or?
I mean, this is not the first time that Ferrari's been the conversation of rumors. It's not uncommon at all. Because people say everything about Ferrari, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and most of the things don't fall through. Soul Vibes. Donovan, this is the best racing podcast on YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But the thing about Ferrari, if they want to enter other motorsports, it's like one thing. One thing that questions me if Ferrari wants to enter an IndyCar and stuff. Who would be taking care of that? Because, right now, Ferrari has an F1 team.
Obviously, that's their highlight program.
Yeah. Last year, you saw what happened. You saw what they did. Not the smartest.
They need to. I mean, I don't know. I think I've been too harsh on Ferrari, but at the same time, they deserve it. They deserve to be, held accountable.
The strategies were weird. Remember their pit strategies, which never worked?
Or just the plain favoritism between driver A and driver B. I wrote a whole paper about that in philosophy last summer.
Remember when
Team orders?
Yeah, essentially.
And Sebastian Vettel spinning a lot, which I'm like... And remember when Vettel spun at Monza, and then came back on the track in front of Stroll, and Stroll said, "What is the Ferrari doing?" Which, that's true. He spun in front of him, and I'm like some of the races, I'm like, and remember the time that Vettel and Leclerc collided with each other at Brazil?
That was probably the breaking point for many Ferrari fans, and especially fans of Sebastian Vettel.
They
Because,
blamed,
you know-
or here's another example, people. Austria 2002.
Right, but that's still 18
Right.
years ago, even
Like-
though that was a massive black eye on the sport,
the thing
not
about-
just their program themselves.
But the thing about Vettel and Leclerc, people said it was Leclerc, but Vettel hit Leclerc that cut the right front on Vettel's the left rear on Vettel's car, and the right rear on Vettel's car was blue, and the left front on Leclerc's car. They hit each other, and they ended up But that's one reason, and then you saw Albon get spun by Lewis Hamilton. That's how Pierre Gasly got a podium. But Lewis Hamilton, because he got penalized after for,
He was dropped
And-
off the podium.
and then Carlos Sainz in the McLaren gets third.
McLaren's only podium of the year.
Yeah.
And Toro Rosso got 2 podiums with Danny Kvyat.
Danny
Kvyat.
Kvyat at Russia.
And no, Germany. It was
Oh, Germany. What the? I was thinking
You're
about his home country. I was thinking Danny
No.
Kvyat from Russia at Germany, and then I just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russia was Hamilton, Bottas, and Leclerc, and because you know what happened with Vettel.
That was
Yeah, he
not
blew
a
it.
bright.
Is that 2018 you're talking about?
2019? 2018 was the Mercedes fiasco. 2019 was the Ferrari fiasco.
Oh God.
and
I
then
think Red Bull's next in line for 2020 to have a
oh
race. this
gosh,
Yeah.
and then and remember what Ferrari's strategy to try to get the championship for Leclerc, even if Leclerc was 107 points behind with only 3 races left. I'm like, that's not gonna work. And then
year.
oh,
No,
and remember,
This one.
yeah, that's why we have. That's one reason that Ferrari did not win the championship. They tried too late. 107 points behind with 3 races left. You're
It's
not
a
going
trend.
to. Like, Mercedes was not going to finish last in every race. Because Mercedes is like Lewis Hamilton, the final race of the season, just dominated at Abu Dhabi and won the race.
All
Nobody,
right, let's see what else we have here. Going back to I don't know why we went off track in the Formula One here, but we were talking about factory teams. Now
Oh,
Jaguar,
yeah.
we were talking about the LMDH. Jaguar's shown interest in bringing the LMDH to their factory team. Now we know that they've had success at Le Mans back in the 1980s, but
Yep.
I think it's their time to come back again.
You're right.
Yeah. Like, the thing about.
The last time a British overall winning team won at Le Mans was Bentley in 2003 with the Speed 8.
Yeah.
So talk about 17 years.
Yeah.
Le Mans might be in jeopardy. We don't know entirely what the plans are from the FIA and the ACO for this year's event, but it's certainly not looking good when it comes to the teams being involved here. We're going to get into the first part, and we learned around Friday that Porsche, they enter usually 4 teams, right? 2 from their WEC side, 2 from their IMSA side in North
Yeah.
America. The factory team that have 4 components
Yeah.
to Le Mans, they've just axed half of them. Their North American side
Yeah.
Is
will not participate this year.
Yeah, usually they enter from the American side the 93 and 94 Porsches, but they can't because there's
Due
the
to travel concerns, financial
Yeah.
concerns.
yeah, so they're gonna only have the 91 Porsche and the 92, like they have in every other race, but usually they have the 2
They're based
other
in
ones.
Germany over there, their
Yeah.
factory shop. So
Yeah,
it makes more
yeah.
sense. But even then, it's still tough because a lot of different countries have various stay-at-home and travel restriction orders. So it's like, how are they going to travel, especially if they're coming, across
Yeah.
the pond.
But like, it's so weird how some places it's worse. But do you know what's not too smart in Canada right now? Guess what Quebec did today?
Oops, excuse me.
Guess what Quebec did today? They opened the schools, and
Wow.
they have more cases than New Brunswick. And New Brunswick, they have the schools still closed.
Sorry.
That is not a move I would agree with.
Yeah, I don't know Quebec's government. I don't know, but like it's
I
not.
mean, unless they're private schools being
No,
open,
they-
and even
Those were public schools in Montreal. I'm like, what? And they said there's social distance. But my question: how can they do that in a classroom with like 20 kids? You can't put somebody 6 feet across the
I'm
class.
actually looking at the CBC article. It's back to school day for thousands of students across Quebec, and teachers wearing face masks. Personally, is that the right move? No.
Like you can't
I don't think so.
like how can you put children 6 feet apart in a classroom? A classroom is not big. Like some classrooms are not big enough to.
But the problem is that you still have people walking in and out of buildings, and I mean, listen, that's just a start.
Yeah, but like
My
area,
worry is about Quebec City and Montreal.
Those
There's
are-
a lot more people.
yeah, like my city, Moncton. It's the biggest city, but we're only 80,000 people.
That's not even half the population of Montreal.
No, they have over 1 million people, and New Brunswick is at about 700,000 people. Quebec's over 8 million people, but the government, there's like,
They're not the only ones doing that. If you notice, Massachusetts, they have a 4-phase reopening plan that they announced today.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of cases in that state. Even though it's a small state, I think it might be moving ahead too fast.
Yeah.
But business is business. And if there's no business, there's no functioning of daily life, really. If you think about it.
Yeah, because but you want to know what's weird in my city? What they announced on Wednesday, the mall's gonna reopen. But do you want to know how bad it's gonna be? Problem is, the mall usually gets so many people. There's gonna be a lot of people on day one, but they have to stay 6 feet apart.
I highly doubt they're going to abide by those rules, and you can't even enforce that.
And also, people are complaining that the mall should have more stores and stuff. I'm like, why would you expand the mall?
Well, that's on the people who own those stores and the little slots that, in a mall, you buy that slot if you can keep business open.
Yeah,
they either close or have to run online. And regardless, they're taking a hit right now. So by opening the mall, maybe they'll benefit. Yeah. But obviously, health is the number one concern. Yeah. And speaking of health and, of course, business, Corvette Racing. This was announced last night. In fact, we were kind of the first to report on it. We found finding that French article that. I mean, I can't read French, but I noticed a word that said depart and sad reacts from the Facebook post that I found it, and I knew right from there immediately that Corvette pulled out, and it's so sad because this is like the first time in 20 years, or I think 22 years. I gotta double check on that, but Corvette over 2 decades, no Le Mans without or with Corvette the first time in over 20 years, and of course they're a popular team. A lot of people in America are devoted Chevy fans, and it's just, what does this mean? That a factory team like Corvette pulls out of their biggest race with a new car, the C8R, the mid-engine, was supposed to debut at Le Mans this year, and now they're pulling out.
But also,
obviously for travel concerns. Go on, Justin.
Also, before before we had all these things, if Corvette would have actually had a race, they actually raced at the Lone Star Le Mans in February. They raced the 63 with Mike Rockenfeller and Jan Magnussen. They were going to enter again at Sebring if there would have been a Sebring race. Then they're like, we're going to enter Le Mans. But now like their team is where is it even based? I think it's somewhere in the United States. I don't know where. We don't know where every team's
Probably in
located.
Michigan or something.
Yeah, they're located there, but it's the travel restrictions again.
Right. Again, like Porsche in America is obviously going to be a struggle.
Yeah, like
And think about endurance racing compared to NASCAR.
yeah.
Each car has about either 2 to 4 drivers, average 3. Each team has about 2 to 4 cars on average. 2. Now do the math here. You have about over 160 or 60 times 3
Yeah.
is 180. 60, of course, being the amount of drivers in the Le Mans 24 hours race. Over 180 drivers. That's a lot of people in the garage area.
Yep.
And I know the race is out in September, and we have no clue what September will look like in 2020.
It's only
It's a risk.
It's only 4 months from now. We're May. 4 months from now, September.
Yeah, it's gonna come by quick.
Yeah, and also I actually checked. Corvette Racing is based in New Hudson, Michigan. That's where the team's based.
Figure pretty much where their manufacturer's based.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's based there, and Le Mans in France, obviously. But the thing is they can't race. They can't race during these things because there's travel restrictions, and some people get fined and all that for not doing.
Like I said before, the logistics and travel time, what it takes right now,
Yep.
it's really not worth it.
Yeah, because
No.
there's some people that are going to court because of it. Like this person in Ontario, a 19-year-old traveled without his travel papers. He's going to court. That's the thing. Like you have to, like I guess in Canada, like if you're traveling, if you want to get from example Alberta to Prince Edward Island, do you know how you have to get there? You have to get a paper from all the other provinces that you're going through to get to where you live. That's what that's what the law is over here for that. Because you could get fined quite a lot of money.
Right. And, I think that's just what people have to do. They got to really be smart about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, for this year's 24 Hours of Le Mans, with the removal of what's it called, Corvette and Porsche's American half of their factory team, that leaves the GTE Pro class with 7 entries left. One Risi Competizione Ferrari,
Oh yeah.
2 AF Corsa Ferraris, 2 Porsche GT teams, the factory Porsches, the ones that are staying, and the 2 Aston Martins. The Corvettes are gone, the 2 Porsches are gone,
Yeah.
and then the reserve entries, because they do it in overall order, they have moved Dragon Speed USA number 27, LMP2 Oreca Gibson up to the first reserve entry. So if anybody withdraws and it's an overall order, they're next to be in the race. Drivers Felix Rosenqvist, Ben Hanley, and Hendrik Hedman are slated for that 27 car. And then you look down below, Iron Lynx for the number 60 Ferrari 488 GTE Evo, GTAM class with an all-Italian lineup, and then going down, there's still lineups with drivers TVA. So there you have it. It's not ideal, unfortunate. This year, when the Le Mans entry list came out, because they unveiled them very early. That was, of course, in early March, like a few weeks after the Daytona 500 early. And I was excited. I couldn't wait because I thought it was going to be great. And we didn't know how the virus is going to affect us. Now it's worldwide. It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
And personally, as much as I love the 24 Hours of Le Mans, I just don't know if it's going to go as planned in this year, even in September.
Like, it's so, like, we don't know. It's 4 months is not long from now. It was supposed to be September 19th to 20th. 4 months from now is not near. Like, 4 months is still in the future, but the months don't pass, like, forever. So at one point, we're going to be in September and we have
And you know what this reminds me of?
Oh, no.
When Canada withdrew from the Olympics, if they were going to run in 2020, obviously the Olympic Games are in Tokyo. They're now going to be in 2021.
But do you know what's kind of bad? Tokyo doesn't even know if they could do it in 2021 now. That's even unknown
That's
for
the
them.
sad part because there's one constant that we cannot change, and that is time.
Yeah.
We cannot change the fact that next month is June and going from June all the way to December. We can't control that. What we can control is how we handle the virus.
Yeah.
As unfortunate as it is, here's what we have to deal with it. And hopefully we'll be talking about the virus when it comes to past tense in 2020 only. But at least NASCAR has what it takes to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking through. Huh, okay. I just saw something which is interesting. That this is breaking news. BJ McLeod Motorsports is in the Cup Series now.
All right.
BJ McLeod will drive the 78 Chevrolet. And yeah, literally,
You're not lying, right?
Very interesting.
No, NASCAR released the entry list. You see there, 78. BJ McLeod is in the 78 car.
That's good, man.
BJ
Nice.
McLeod Motorsports. But Garrett's the only entry they forgot to put the 7, but it was confirmed that Josh Bilicki,
Right, they're probably a late entry.
Gase is in the 51, Yaley's 53, and Smithley's in the 52. Which, okay, I didn't expect to see BJ McLeod's own car, which they've been running an Xfinity for a while now, since 2016.
And in truck series here and there.
Yeah, like BJ McLeod, he knows he's raced in multiple series.
Well then.
Yeah, we only got the Cup entry list because there's only the Cup race. Later this week, we'll have the Xfinity entry list out, but we got the Cup one, which...
Right, and let's talk about the Darlington preview. How about that? I have some of the facts of this race. So the first race that they ran was back in 1952. Dick Rathman won. The last time they ran the Darlington 400 was Jimmy Johnson in 2004. And here are the list of winners from highest amount of wins to lowest amount. David Pearson leads that with 7 victories over Dale Earnhardt with 6, Darrell Waltrip with 4, Dale Jarrett 3, and then these drivers all had 2 wins each for Darlington and the 400-mile race. Fireball Roberts, Joe Weatherly, Fred Lorenzen, Richard Petty, Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, and Sterling Marlin. And then let's talk about teams. So most team victories, Holman Moody with 7.
Okay.
5 for Junior Johnson and Associates,
Johnson,
as well as Richard Childress Racing.
Oh, okay.
4 for the Wood Brothers. 3 wins for the Petty Enterprises, Henry Motorsports, and Robert Yates Racing.
Okay.
And then 2 wins for Budmore Engineering and Dygaard Motorsports. And just like the most team wins with Holman Moody, obviously that's going to mean that Ford has the most make wins with 17. I bet you 7 of them coming from Holman Moody. 15 wins for Chevy. Mercury has 5, and then these manufacturers have 2 wins. Plymouth, Buick, Oldsmobile, Dodge, and Pontiac and Hudson and AMC have 1 win at the track.
And also, so you heard BJ McLeod will drive his own 78, which he did drive one race, Daytona in the number 52, but BJ McLeod, yep, and you see the 7, Bilicki's in the 7 car for Tommy Baldwin Racing, which their last race was with the 71 of Ryan Truex, but they failed to qualify.
And they withdrew from this year's 500 as well,
But the last time they actually ran without premium,
although it was unconfirmed.
remember Premium's number 7 car? The
Yes,
last,
the car Danica Patrick drove.
but the last time that was Tommy Baldwin Racing's owner was Elliott Sadler at the 2017 Daytona 500. Other than that, it was Jay Robinson, listed owner.
Right, Premium Motorsports.
Yeah, but this is the 7 owned by Tommy Baldwin Jr., who's the owner of the team. Which,
Right, former crew chief.
and like, it's gonna be, and Timmy Hill's entered as always, the 66. Sorensen's still in the 77, but Ryan Newman back in the 6 car. Matt Kenseth in car number 42, and
Let's talk about picks. Why don't we do that?
oh gosh.
So, who is going to win the Darlington 400? We'll talk about predictions for the other Darlington race in the Coast 600 next week.
Yeah, next podcast. But this is hard because one, there's no qualifying, so I don't know.
Practice nothing. Just the green flag to the checkered flag.
This is
Yeah,
gonna.
man.
You can still practice online.
Do you wanna know what's so funny that somebody? Do you wanna know what
Yeah.
somebody?
NASCAR didn't say you couldn't do that.
Do you wanna know what somebody?
Yeah,
do you wanna know what somebody said for a joke? Somebody said they should do a draw and put BJ McLeod on the pole. I'm like, no,
I see that happen.
he's
How's
gonna-
how's that
Probably
gonna
going
happen?
to be off points.
hopefully,
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's gonna see that happen.
because that would have been
Being-
weird.
A driver like Kevin Harvick
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick would be on the
Yeah, it would be Harvick and Logano, and then Elliott and Bowman, the first 2 rows. But
I see Jimmy Johnson winning.
Hey,
Yeah.
he won the last Darlington 400.
So
yeah,
quote defending.
But it wasn't.
Yes.
I mean, as much as I would love to see that happen, we do have to admit that's not. It's not
And
going to be
he's
the same
won at
Jimmy
Darlington
Johnson.
twice.
but we
Yes,
still-
he's won the Southern 500 as well,
Oh,
including the freezing cold one on that same very year in 2004 on my 6th birthday. I remember that race when I watched it.
Damn.
It didn't have many
He was
friends.
6?
Yeah, 2004
That was-
Southern 500,
Seven,
the second to last race.
6.5.
I
My
would,
math is off.
It was an emotional win for the Hendrick team, obviously
Well-
because of what happened a few weeks earlier.
hey, in 2004, I was 2. I was only 2 years old.
I think it was like 7.
Dude,
Try
I
to remember
was.
from my math. 7 3/4 probably.
Donovan Martinez. Do you guys watch IDK player Cody H Gaming at Soundhead or all? I watch them all, especially Cody H Gaming,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm a fan of NR 2003 and I just enjoy those videos. And he helps with the links, puts secret car sets that don't come up when you first Google them. He has them in the description.
Hey,
So if you
also-
play NR 2003, definitely go ahead and check out Cody H Gaming.
Hey, also, by the way, that I don't even know who I want to pick because I don't want to say this wrong pick. Remember the last time? Remember what I said about my picks? Remember that? Oh my gosh! Remember the time I didn't pick Alex? Remember Auto Club that I picked Kurt Busch, and that's the only time Alex Bowman was when I didn't pick Bowman. It was Bowman winning, but I don't think he'll win because Bowman's not the best at Darlington. Because he only ran Darlington at night. He's never run at Darlington during the day. So my pick for Darlington, this driver, he drives for a Ford team. And he's never ran Darlington at the day, but it's not the guy that has 2 wins for Penske. He won the Southern 500.
Keselowski.
Yep, Brett Keselowski, number 2. Wins at Darlington.
All right, so my prediction, I think this is a good one. He won twice in the Pro Invitational Series and
Oh my
had a Southern 500 win, even though he failed inspection. But I see him winning again.
Oh my god!
But in the 400-mile race, it's Denny Hamlin. This is his championship year. I think
I don't know.
he's the best driver that has not
Yeah.
won a championship.
But you still.
He can win everything. He's won 3
Yeah.
Daytona 500s, and
Yeah, but the
He has yet to win a championship.
Yep, but also there's
And
also
never will.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Come on, Austin.
It depends if he's consistent because some seasons he looks consistent.
The thing is, he's
And
got
then he
Sebastian
choked in the
Vettel
last
in
race.
2017. He's good
But-
to start, but just
but
either fades away or has a
But-
costly mistake. I don't know. if
but
he's
do you
got
know
a
what's
costly
weird?
mistake this year.
but do you know what's interesting about people?
Donovan Martinez says Denny Hamlin is his prediction.
You know, 2013, Joseph. Other than Denny Hamlin missing races, his season was still bad. He would crash in most of the races. He would
Right, but he
finish.
was off. He was off key.
He crashed twice at Pocono. His only win came at Homestead. Other than that, it was crash after crash after crash. Basically, he was Sonoma. He crashed. Watkins Glen was,
Right.
But-
It was trying times for the team.
and also I
Especially
remember.
when Jason Leffler lost his life.
Yeah, like I was actually looking through, and also I was also looking through some things that people, because how I got reminded about the Denny Hamlin accident. Later this week on Fox Sports 1, they're showing the 2013 Auto Club 400, plus the 2011 Coke 600, and the 2011 Saturn 500, which the 2011 Coke 600, I don't like that race. That race was annoying. NASCAR did not throw a caution when people were wrecking in turn 1.
And Junior will probably have ran out of fuel in a caution if you think about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
They had
Yeah,
multiple
so
times
no
to lose
difference
it.
right there.
But I played a NASCAR Inside Line Challenge. I coasted and still made it, but
So did I when I had the game on PS3.
But people said the Wii version was good. The Wii version of Inside Line is bad.
No, it was kind of like the Wii version of F1.
Oh
2009.
yeah. Oh, that game. That was so bad. And also, I was just looking. I know that I was just looking through the. And also about Darlington. There's also people that don't know. Darlington, right after the Cup race is done, the teams are actually leaving and going back to Charlotte. On Tuesday, Xfinity cars will be arriving to the track then, and then
Alright.
then the Wednesday the Cup haulers come back.
Wait, Danny, who's your pick to win Darlington this weekend?
No. Oh, my pick is Johnson.
All right, Johnson.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Austin. Wait, you have Johnson too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Oh, you're pointing at a screen. Okay, let's talk about what else we have now. So, George Russell won the Spanish Virtual Grand Prix after a battle with Charles Leclerc, which resulted in Leclerc getting a time penalty.
Oh.
Nonetheless, it was good. It was
Ouch.
feisty.
Hey, just like real life.
All right, NASCAR has issued a 34-page handbook for a protocol at Darlington.
34 pages.
Yeah,
Oh.
go do
Hey,
the
you have to
research.
read.
Do the research on that yourself. Corvette, yeah, we already talked about them. Unfortunately, they were true.
We're not reading.
Now, Chicagoland Speedway
Oh
has
yeah.
been on the news. There's a potential new building in Joliet, Illinois, where it's located that might intervene or conflict with the track. But there are other reports saying that it will not affect Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Chicagoland Speedway. This is not
Yeah,
2007. We're not
Yeah,
talking
Oh
about
that's
my
a true
God,
statement. I forgot who
Joseph.
posted saying it's
I know.
staying. It's just gonna be in the one of the corners, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a building, piece of real
Yeah.
estate.
Yeah.
And also,
AKA useless.
also, I was looking. Also, other news: NASCAR has announced this for the races that don't have a qualifying session. They'll have 40 spots for the Truck and Xfinity series.
Yeah,
Which-
Cup stays the same.
Yeah, Cup is still 40, but like I didn't. When I heard that, I'm like, I thought somebody was joking with me. I look, and it's actually on NASCAR's website because people.
What do you guys think
so-
about that? I want to hear everyone's take on it.
For me, I feel like it's not that bad because there's some. The Truck Series is one of the series that have too many entries. Like sometimes,
It would not be fair to have only 32 make a
Like-
show that can't even have qualifying.
Yeah.
you know, Daytona. You know, you see Daytona. Like every time you see a truck race, they enter like 40 trucks sometimes, and then there's
Yeah.
so
Right,
many
it's easy to
DNQs.
obtain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happened twice in its early seasons. The Phoenix finale in 1995 and the first truck race at Las Vegas in 1996 as well.
Yeah, like I remember, like usually we see 32 trucks now, but we've seen 34 and 36. But now
Yeah,
they're
it was
gonna
36 for like a long time.
until they lowered it to 32 trucks. There was actually, do you want to know what's interesting? The 2014 Canadian Tire race. Guess how many trucks were in that race? 20. There was only 28. There was four
Very
left
rare circumstance, but
at Canadian Tire the
And
second time.
1997 as well for 40. And Loudon 40 trucks. That's interesting.
right.
Wait,
When was the last time we had over 36 trucks in a race? Because I know 36 used to be the rule until 2015.
I'm still looking through all of them as quickly as possible. Hey, get back to me on that.
Just gonna check something.
Well, the last thing number over 36 in the 1990s was 37 at Texas 1.
All right.
And Pronto Auto Parts 400K, Dennis Sensor,
I'm just gonna go check something.
I think.
Let me go check.
I think I need reading glasses at some point.
Where's Bristol?
So yeah, they're basically going to accommodate the entry list
Yeah.
by having them
Well,
all
same
filled in.
thing
And it's fair.
Y2K.
It's not too many. If you really think about it,
Oh.
it's not too much because they used to have that many trucks and there was none in dangerous situations like that. I think it's gonna go fine.
Right.
But of course they have to update the pit boxes, which is fine because they're set
Yeah.
for cup races.
Also,
At
I,
Darlington and at
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah,
I
plus some people will start in park.
yeah, some people do
For
like
the cash.
Premium Motorsports. That's basically what they do. Spire Motorsports.
All right, what do you?
Also,
Okay,
I
yeah.
also
Go
I
on.
figured. I also figured out that I was also one of the truck races that didn't have 32 trucks was Bristol 96. Had 33 trucks. I actually recently watched that race because Fox Sports Racing showed a re-air. And that's the time that Mike Bliss actually flipped on his side. People forget that he flipped on his side at Bristol. It's possible.
Yeah.
Rusty Wallace.
No, it was Mike Bliss in the 2 truck.
My-
He was on this side and he actually got out of the truck.
oh,
Yeah.
and Joseph,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So I think we've had everything on this podcast covered. Get ready for racing. I can't wait.
Sunday on Fox.
I think everyone deserves
Yeah.
a treat to have sports come back.
Yes.
one way or
Sunday,
another.
the flag will be up and away they go.
Monday.
Yep.
Yeah,
On
great
Fox.
Sunday.
Regular
weekend-
Fox.
Next Monday we will cover the Darlington 400. We'll preview the Darlington 500 and the Coke 600 as well as the Xfinity races
The Darlington 200 on the
Xfinity.
Tuesday.
on Tuesday. Right, we'll have it on
Yeah.
Tuesday. And 2 podcasts from now, we're going to have it in the afternoon because
Because the Xfinity race is on Monday during the time of the podcast, which
Right.
we can't have the podcast during the Xfinity.
I feel like
race.
it's better if we do a podcast while there's no NASCAR racing going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, because we've remember podcast number 10? That podcast? Monday, Cup Race. Tuesday, remember the streaming issues on YouTube, Joseph?
Right, but at least
And
we
then
had
But then Wednesday, we had the Bruins game, the Game 7, and then
the
we had
game
our
where the Bruins
Thursday.
lost.
But Thursday, we had to preview the Le Mans race. It was the Le Mans weekend, too. So we had so
Right.
much to preview.
And we obviously want that to happen this year.
yeah,
Hopefully, some way, somehow, that they'll just
Yep.
tackle this virus and we can move on with our lives.
Yep, because
Those face masks are getting itchy.
I've been growing this out for a while now because I'm not leaving my house. I'm barely leaving my own house. And my hair is I have to get this cut at one point. So I don't want to yeah, my hair's getting annoying sometimes because people don't always want to yeah, but
Let's
this
move on, though.
yeah,
Can't have you rambling a whole lot.
you guys
All
don't
right.
do donations. Well, we can't.
Okay. let's. I think this is a good stopping point for the podcast.
Yeah.
The good outweighs the bad here. You know, there's always a trade-off in every situation, especially in the case of 2020. So thank you guys for watching the Below the Yellow Line podcast for episode 58. We'll be back next weekend or next Monday for an awesome episode 59. For my partners, Justin Humbert, Daniel Ford, and Austin Plant, I am Joe Landy Pavlon signing off.
Signing off.